So, what happens when two regular brothers decide to take on an entire city? Well, this isn't just any old lawsuit. We're talking about a wild story out of Arizona where two guys are accusing the city of Phoenix and a bunch of its associates of being, get this, a criminal enterprise. And they're using a law that was literally designed to take down the mob.
To really get a sense of how big this fight is, you just have to look at the opening lines of the lawsuit itself. I mean, wow. It talks about a multi-decade coordinated criminal enterprise. We're not talking about some simple mix-up or a property dispute here. The claim is that there's been a massive criminal conspiracy going on for decades. And to understand the weight of that accusation, you have to know about the legal weapon they're using, the RICO Act. Now, this isn't just another law in the books. It was specifically created to dismantle entire criminal organizations, like the mafia. It lets prosecutors connect a bunch of different crimes and go after the whole operation. Using it against a city, that is an incredibly bold legal move. Okay, so what is this shocking accusation at the very heart of this lawsuit? Let's really dig into the specifics of what these two brothers, Keith and Paul Hartl, are claiming. So, according to the complaint, this was anything but an accident. They're alleging this wasn't just a series of bureaucratic blunders, but a deliberate 33-year campaign. They claim that a whole network of people, both in government and the private sector, worked together with one single mission: to take their property and their assets by any means necessary.
Right, so the lawsuit doesn't just point a finger at one person. Oh no, it actually maps out an entire alleged conspiracy, this whole web of interconnected players. So, who are they?
The lawsuit basically paints this picture of a two-pronged attack. On one hand, you have the Maricopa arm of the conspiracy, allegedly led by the city of Phoenix itself, using things like fake liens and bureaucratic trickery. And then, over in Mojave County, you've got another arm, supposedly led by a private developer, using much more brutal tactics. We're talking arson and extortion. The plaintiffs claim these were different methods, sure, but all part of the same coordinated conspiracy. And this table really lays out that alleged network. You've got the city of Phoenix itself, accused of constructive eviction. You've got named city officials, a private developer accused of actual arson, and even a well-known tax attorney. The core claim here is that none of these people were acting alone. They were all allegedly just cogs in one big machine. Now, for any RICO case to have a prayer of succeeding, the plaintiffs have to prove what's called a pattern of racketeering activity. So, in plain English, that means they can't just make a vague claim. They have to point to specific underlying criminal acts, which are known in the legal world as predicate acts. So let's look at one of their key pieces of evidence. The complaint points to this email, all about a tax lien payment for over $3,000. The plaintiffs say, look, we paid it, but they allege that officials just ignored the payment and moved to foreclose on their property anyway. Basically, they claim the defendants manufactured a crisis to justify taking the property. And then there's the alleged mail fraud. The lawsuit highlights this number, over $35,000. That's the amount on a water bill they say was totally fraudulent, mailed to them as another part of the scheme. The alleged goal here, super simple: create an insane, impossible debt on paper, giving them another excuse to seize their property. And believe me, the list of alleged crimes gets much, much more severe. The complaint throws in accusations of arson to literally destroy their properties, extortion using threatening postcards, and even the theft of one of the brothers' confidential health information, supposedly to use for intimidation. They even claim the defendants lied directly to federal courts, which is a huge deal.
Okay, so that brings us to a critical battle that's happening as we speak. It is literally a race against time, as the plaintiffs fight to get their hands on the evidence they need before they claim it can be destroyed for good.
The Hartls filed an emergency motion, and this quote really says it all. They're telling the judge, look, we can't trust these people with the evidence that could prove our case. And why the crazy urgency? Because so much of this stuff, emails, memos, records, is all electronic. It can be deleted with a click. So they're asking the judge to step in right now. So you see, this motion is a really strategic, preemptive strike. It's not just about getting documents down the road. It's about forcing the defendants to preserve every little thing right now. And it's about using early, targeted questions to figure out every single person allegedly involved in this thing, all the way to the top. And all of this, all of it,
builds up to what is, without a doubt, the most dramatic, most unprecedented demand in this entire case: a request for the court to just seize everything.
The plaintiffs are not mincing words here. As this quote shows, they are telling the judge flat out that a federal crime is happening right now, as the defendants are allegedly selling off the very properties that are in dispute. And they argue the court doesn't just have the power to stop it, it has a duty under the RICO law to act immediately.
Let's be absolutely crystal clear about what this means. A writ of seizure it's like the legal nuclear option. The plaintiffs are asking a federal judge to order U.S. Marshals to physically go out and seize all the properties, all the bank accounts, all the records connected to this alleged enterprise. It would effectively shut the whole thing down while the case is being decided. So this slide really sums up their three huge demands. First, they want to undo a prior dismissal of their case, which they claim was only granted because of fraud. Then, right in the middle, the big one: issued that writ of seizure and send in the U.S. Marshals to take control of everything. And finally, a restraining order to stop all property sales and, this is just unbelievable, force the city to turn their water back on, which they allege has been shut off for 7 years. So that's the big question, isn't it? We have no idea how this is all going to play out. But what we're looking at here is a case that really pushes the absolute boundaries of the legal system. It raises these profound questions about power, about justice, and about what tools are left for regular citizens when they believe the entire system has been turned against them.